So, Steven, how are you?
I'm good. The sun has disappeared today, but it's still good.
Yeah.
And yourself, how are things over your way?
They are good. I'm a little tired because those crazy COVID times, I went through so many things, searching for new tools, creating new content, and at the end, you pay the bills of doing so. Because
Yes, yeah,
yeah.
you got to keep. Yeah,
And I
yeah.
don't know about you,
Okay.
Stephen, but there's one thing about this is when you see something new, you have to go after that and let's see how it works. And then there's a new challenge because you want to see how it works and how you can, because sometimes you can't do it the first way, and you want to see a hack. I think you have also that problem, right?
This weekend, I shall get my first ever mixer, and I'm looking forward to trying that. I might even get an XLR microphone as well. Do you have an XLR that you?
Yeah, I have this one.
Mhm.
I have this one.
Okay. What do you think of it?
It's nice. One of the problems is that if you stay a little bit away from the microphone, the sound goes really low.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. This one has a biggest range of caption.
Mhm.
But the problem is it's also because, for instance, if I let something drop on my table, you heard it, right?
No.
No, because Crisp is activated.
Crisp.
Yeah.
Yeah, Crisp works superbly well. I mean, we're both using it, and it does make life a lot easier, especially when you've got people moving around you.
Yeah, and for this microphone is good, but it's too sensitive. For instance, I have a deep breath because that's a problem I have, and sometimes if I don't have I should use Crisp every time because the sound of you can hear it, and I think it's not really good to hear it.
Well, we should try and get the sound as good as we can, really, because people tend to listen as much as watch live video. That's good. Anyway, in the UK at the moment, we've decided that if you want to come to the UK, you can travel to the UK by air. You could fly out of Porto into Heathrow, and we'll let you in.
Okay.
But then you've got to go into quarantine for 2 weeks, and you've got to tell our authorities where you are for those 2 weeks. Now, if you're coming for a 10-day holiday, it makes life a bit difficult, doesn't it?
Just a little.
And they've been asked for the reasoning behind it, and they don't have any. Right, but in good news, your Prime Minister is actually talking to our government about having what they've termed an air bridge, so that you'd be able to fly from Portugal to England and from England to Portugal with no quarantine. I think that's a good idea. I think that's an omen, actually.
Well, if you travel to Portugal, you don't have to do quarantine.
Right.
Our wine, it's too good, and you just by drinking the wine, you get healed from. Okay, now it's good.
Drinking
from COVID.
Yeah, but it's good though. All these people joining us to go live. It's been amazing to actually watch people going live for the first time and enjoying it and coming back and doing another broadcast.
Absolutely.
I think the first broadcast is the hardest. and then after that, it just gets better. So are there any tips and tricks we could give to people about doing their first broadcast?
Well, I think even though it was a long time ago,
Many years ago.
I think that's and I've been talking some minutes ago with a nice guy from Portugal. Shout out to Philippe, and we were talking about because starting is all. I made last week. I made a poll on LinkedIn about live streaming, and I asked because we just have 4 options, and the options I put it was I don't have the equipment. I'm not a guru.
Yeah.
Because too many people put that problem. I think Harper is there.
Okay.
Let's bring him. Hello.
Hello.
Hey guys.
How are you?
Good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, we can hear you. It's nice to see you.
So
Okay, good.
We were talking about starting and the challenge of starting in live streaming. And I made last week a poll on my LinkedIn, and the options were the equipment. I'm not a guru. I don't know too much about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm shy. And I think last one is, let me check.
It was a good one. It was a good one. Yeah, I think shy is possibly the most difficult. But I mean, can you remember your first broadcast, Harper? And how you felt?
Yeah, it was only a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, the good thing about doing that is I can remember everything, is because I'm still. I mean, it was like it was yesterday, but it was actually 2 weeks ago. So yeah.
Let me check. Okay.
And were you nervous at all?
No, not really at all. Oddly enough, I'm actually a very shy person, but I don't ever show it. So
I know what you mean.
I know. Okay. I have the 4 options. The last one, I don't know how to start. And another person came on comments with the problem, I don't have time, or I don't know how to manage time to do so. And yes, okay, so I will make soon live stream in Portuguese talking about this. I think we can talk about this right now. And most of them, because I made it propositively, because these are the reasons people give to not doing, and for me they are just excuses, right? Mm-hmm. So Harper, you're the freshman here.
I'm the new guy.
Yeah.
So what do you think? The 4 options. I don't have the equipment. I'm shy. I don't think I'm a guru. I don't think my content will bring some value to the people. Or we don't know where to start. Which was for you the most challenging thing above this? Okay. Hello, Abdul. How are you?
So the thing that I did is, once I figured out that, because a friend of mine up in Seattle, he's doing this on on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and so I reached out to him and said, hey, I just started this page on Facebook a couple months ago, and I want to do a live feed each week. What are you doing? Because he started on Facebook Live, but Facebook Live you can't do split screen like we're doing. with the three of us from different parts of the world. So he brought me to to be live, and since then, I mean, it was just I was playing around with it. I'm like, all right, let's do it, and I jumped in. I didn't have a microphone. I didn't have headphones. And for anybody that's watching, the reason that I'm wearing them is so that you don't get feedback, because the noise coming out of my speakers will pick up on a microphone on the laptop, and it'll just get this loop and loop and loop. And so we ended up doing that the first time on our very first one, and it was one of those going, okay, I got to figure out how to stop this. So I asked questions. Entered Steven Healey into the picture. That's how I met him. He was always answering these questions. I'm like, great. I gotta really listen and write this stuff down. And a couple days later, I'm recording a drag race out in the middle of the Arizona desert. So, and it's not one of those things where you can't just put it off until you're ready, because you're never going to be ready until you actually do it. So as far as I know what content I'm going to be talking about, because it's all about what my page is. If you're just talking to do a weekly thing, then you have to pick your topic each week. It's all about cars, whether it's car shows, car racing, building a car in your garage, anything like that. It's all networking as well. I mean, I've had people say, hey, I live in such and such area of this country, where how do I find a good mechanic? We reach out to people in that country. I did for the followers that I have, and mind you, I don't have thousands and millions and all that kind of followers, but I've got a little over 400 followers on my page. But they're actually on 6 different continents, so it's just really kind of cool. I mapped it out, and I've got somebody who follows me from South Africa, Budapest, Indonesia, Australia. I mean, it's really kind of cool how it just grows on its own. But everybody for the most part has a car. I mean, people in South Africa, they have a car. They're not as dominant in their life as Americans. Americans are really, it's all about your car and stuff like that. I don't even think the Brits are really, so much on, how much the car means to them. I think a lot of people outside of the U.S., it's just a mode of transportation. But for me and the people that I connect with, it's a hobby, or in my case, it's therapy. And so that's how I determine what I'm going to talk about. So,
Steven.
Yeah, we do have motor enthusiasts in the UK. We do have Formula One, which is hopefully going to start again in August. So we do like our cars, but we're getting a situation now where a lot of city centres are being pedestrianised, and people are being encouraged to either walk or to cycle. Now, in the UK, that doesn't mean large distances, but in the US, I guess it does. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm where I live. I'm 2 hours to the nearest city outside of mine. So Phoenix is about it's over about 180 miles north of here, and Mexico is closer than Phoenix is. So.
Right, so the biggest city is a 4-hour drive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you do need a car, because you to cycle that you never get there. Right. Okay. So your best advice to people, and I think Mark and I can agree with this, is don't overthink this live video thing.
No.
Just do it. Just do it. I think that's the overcoming that problem is the first thing you've got to do. You've got to say, well, okay, I'm going to go live, and that's you just do it, don't you, Marco?
Absolutely. and that's one of, for instance, that girl who mentioned the problem is I don't have time, or I don't know how to manage time to do it. And for me, and I think both of you will agree also, the most amazing thing of Live streaming is that it doesn't require the same amount of time of any other kind of content. For instance, if you want to record a podcast, you have to record the podcast, then you have to edit the audio, to add some background music, to add an intro, an outro, to upload it to a platform, to build a thumbnail or a image to the audio. If you want to write down a blog post, you have to study, you have to write down things, you have to see if the misspellings, you have to see an image to put there, another image, how to put H1, H2, bullet points, everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. Live streaming, okay. Oh, I should talk about this. Oh, hello, people. Today, and that's it.
That's it.
Yeah, totally. You don't have to prepare like you do a podcast. Totally agree. And blogging, when we first got going, we were told you had to have your own website, you had to do your own blog, and people would come and watch and read your blog and get in contact with you, and it would be the start of something amazing. It was start of something good, but it wasn't amazing. Live video, however, is totally different, because if you attract an audience, you can actually speak to your audience, you can take comments, you can take questions, people can get involved. It's a two-way communication. A blog is something that people can read. And you write the blog, you craft it, it's beautiful, it's perfect. As Marco said, it's got the pictures in, it's got the headings in, it's got everything. And you publish the blog, and if you've already got followers, then they will come read it. But then you've got to start promoting it. You've got to promote it on Twitter and Pinterest and Instagram and LinkedIn, everywhere. But at the end of the day, people don't talk to you. There was a time when you wrote a blog post and people would come and comment. I'm going back a bit. And you'd be able to interact in the comments to your blog. Well, people, first of all, not as many people read blogs, and I'm willing to be shot down here. But the second thing is people certainly don't comment on a blog.
Yeah.
Whereas with a live video on Facebook or YouTube, then people are attracted to it. And because of that very reason, they will interact, especially if you ask people to interact. Because it's a two-way street. Live video is a two-way street. It's not a question of, it's not a monologue. It's not somebody sort of in front of an audience for 1,000 people sort of giving a broadcast. It's basically very personal. And it's, as Harper said, it's networking. He's meeting people from around the world. And that's what it's all about, actually connecting with people whilst you're live and afterwards. End of rant.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I want to bring something to the conversation, because Harper talked about this, because you mentioned, Harper, that maybe in the other countries people are not so crazy about cars. Okay, mostly of them maybe not, but if you have 20 countries where 0.1% of people like cars as you do, at the end of the day, it will be an amazing amount of people.
Yeah.
And if they are looking for someone who shares that passion, who will they find?
Yep.
And that's, I think it's one of the problems I find on marketing, is that people want to please everybody. And there's that tiny little piece of the people on some countries who has the same taste as you, and it's fine. You don't have to have 1 million followers. Maybe that 400 or 500 you have, it's more than enough for you, at least by now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the things that I found was... oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Steven.
No, sorry. I'm okay. Carry on, please.
One of the things that I found was on my page before I was doing live, I posted some videos of a car on a dynamometer, and what that is it's basically a car's treadmill to see how much power it has. And I got one video, which wasn't like the most performance car or anything like that. It was a little Dodge Neon, but it did like 507 foot-pounds of torque, which is something that is just unheard of, really. And the people down in Brazil loved it. I mean, I got, I think I had like 9,000 views on this one video, and I'm like, good Lord, I think I had like 30 followers at the time, but they loved it. And so I got into some conversations with some of the people down there through the video, and they don't have the same cars that we have here in the U.S., obviously, but like my sports car that I have is a 2015 Camaro, which it's really pretty average here, but down in Brazil, that car costs a lot of money, and not everybody can have one. So it's like a luxury car down there. So it's kind of the way you look at it is, I've got some friends over in a lot of friends in the UK, and one of my friends over there he was like, oh wait, you don't have a what is it, the Ford XR4? And I'm like, no, that's not a US car. And he's like, oh, you just kind of forget that other countries don't have the same kind of cars that you have. So they can, looking at cars, he showed his cars, and I had a bunch of my American friends going, what kind of car is that? I mean, you don't see it. So it's like, even if you're really not a car person, you're like going, wow, I've never seen that car before.
Yeah. For instance, I can share the experience I have when I went to England in some years ago. I think it was, I was 15. It was on the early 90s. And Opel, in the German Opel, in UK it's Vauxhall, right?
Correct, yeah.
And the car models, the names, the car is the same, but name it's different also. And it was huge. A 15 years old guy. Look, it's I think the Corsa, for instance. Mm-hmm. It's the Chevalier. I don't know if it's the
Chevalier.
I think it was. Maybe not. I don't know. But it was amazing, and that's sometimes it's good to and live streaming is good for this because it's real time interaction. And when people say, look this difference. Oh, really? Tell me more. Tell me. And I think when you're in a so tiny niche field, I think this is even more interesting. Don't you think, guys?
Oh yeah, definitely.
It is. I think the other thing that comes across from what Mark was saying earlier is that he's actually using it not just as an opportunity to educate people and to show people things they might not normally think, but in addition to that, he's helping people. And I love the idea of actually finding a mechanic for somebody. That's live video at its best, really, helping people, which is something that we're strong on, because you have your own expertise and you want to share that, but there are people out there who want to share their expertise too. So that's where live video comes in, to be able to help people build a community, which is what we're all about.
For instance, we started with 2 people, now we have 3. And hopefully next week we'll have 4.
Well, it's basically what we want to do, and is meet people, as we're doing, and people with common interest, common purpose, and who look at live video the way that we do. The other thing is that we're on a journey. We're on an adventure, Marco and I. And you've joined us now, Harper. So you're on the adventure. You can't back out of it. It's too
Absolutely.
late. We want to be on Restream.io and to have 4 people on screen. Then we want to apply for 7 people on screen, and we just want to follow along on the journey. because the live video is just so fascinating. It's just going to be interesting to see how we go from 4 people on screen to 7. We've watched this system since March, and it's just improving week on week. And we're trying, well, with Marco's help, trying to get in there to get behind the scenes and find out what's going on. But the one thing that they have built in, which is a darn good idea, is that if you go to your settings cog, Harper, at the bottom of the screen, you will see something marked audio processing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if you switch that on, basically what it will do is it cuts out any background noise. So the only thing we'll be able to hear is, hello, people wanted to join the call. It's not for us to read, it's for everybody else to read. One of the biggest problems, of course, I mean, I've got this at home, in that there are people moving around, and with the best will in the world, you can't tell people to sit down for half an hour or an hour whilst you're broadcasting. So you do need some form of noise cancellation. Now, in Restream, it's built in. Not only does it do the noise cancellation, but it also, I'm reading here, just a minute, reduce background noises, and it also, and you'll be interested in this because I only just noticed this, it does the echo cancellation as well. So we should be able to do this without headphones. Not now, let's not experiment live. If we do a test before we go live next week, we should be able to do it without headphones, which would be absolutely brilliant.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I usually do my broadcast in the garage. I'll open up the garage door for some natural light, and because usually by that time of the day the sun is not shining in the garage, but it's right above the house, so it's usually a good amount of light. Right now, I'm sitting on the back porch, and of course my daughter just let the dogs out, of course, and now you know. But so yeah, so I mean, it seems like it's a little bit too much light, where I'm at right now. So I'll when I do my broadcast, in a couple hours, I'll go back out into the garage where I'm the lighting I think is a lot better. But I use I don't use the mic on the computer. I got a little a blue ball, and I mean seems to pick up. It picked up cars pretty well. Of course, the frequency for dogs. There was dogs barking, and people were like going, "Well, the dogs sound better than the cars." Well, I mean, I can't do anything about that. But yeah, I mean, so it picks up kind of everything around. When I actually look at when I get camcorders or cameras that I'm going to have, I'll have the I forget what the kind of microphone is, but the one that will only do is focused for what's right in front of you.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about. I don't know the name.
Yeah, I can't remember it, but it's instead of a 360, it's limited to like a 10 degree
cardioid, I think, or something.
Yeah,
well,
something like that. I got to get the cameras first, so that way I'm not having people with cell phones. It'll be a whole lot better having a high-speed camera that's connected. I'm working on upgrading I found out the laptop that I'm using, while it's 6 years old, it had almost top-of-the-line equipment on it then. And so I'm looking at some of the new stuff, and I'm like, oh, wait, that's the same thing I have in my laptop now. So I'm working on optimizing it and getting things to run a little bit smoother, and then so that I can still run the camera on it. I got to increase the RAM on it, but yeah. So I think this will work, but I just got to get the cameras and stuff like that. I got a lot of smaller races between now and November, but in November, the racers that had me air their race, they're having an even bigger one in November. And so, I mean, we're looking at almost they're projecting about $60,000 for the winner. So that's huge. So
I think I'm going to ride to the race.
Yes, come on over, November 28th.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we'll watch from afar, definitely.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
And cheer you
yeah.
on.
I want to. I'll have all the right equipment and everything. It's going to be a great race, and they're already looking at expanding it to more states than what we had come out. So it's going to be probably an all-day event. And yeah, the winner, instead of getting 10,800 like they did this time, they're looking at about 60 grand, $60,000 US. So
It's big money.
Okay.
yeah.
I think it's good to buy some cameras.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Imagine all the people that are going to want to watch that race, and I'll be the only one that is going to be airing it, so it's going to be really nice. So.
To be official broadcaster is quite something, and I wish you every success with it. And we're going to follow, obviously. It'd be good. What would be good is if we actually go, as you sort of build your kit week by week, is to go through what you've done and just come in and chat about it. Yeah, because one of the biggest things that we did is the best way to become known in live video is to be a guest on somebody else's show too. And the more guest spots that you do, the better you become known, and you're reaching out. I mean, what we've been discussing today would be of interest to a lot of our friends, and it's just a way of actually getting the message out, showing your passion for cars, showing your passion for racing, and that comes across. And they would be delighted to have you as a guest. I only wish that somebody would start a hire a guest website where we could actually put hosts in touch with guests. It's been tried, but it's never actually taken off, has it, Marco?
Yeah, sometimes it's not easy. I think if there's a place when people know, okay, I can find someone to have me on his or her show, or the opposite, I know a place where I can find people who has something to share and wants to join my show. I have a little hack. For instance, I'm on LinkedIn looking, and now on LinkedIn it's even better to do this, looking for people who are launching a book, training, an event, because all of them want to promote what they are selling. So it's a nice way to engage with that people.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
for instance, yesterday I had an amazing guest. I was looking at him for some months, and he launched the book on May 5th. And do you want to join my show and you can talk about the book? Of course, let's do it. And it was amazing. He was really, really, really good. So
yeah, I mean, that's free marketing for them,
absolutely.
So. And especially in an area that they're not even ever intending on marketing it. So,
Steven?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it time for my advert? Okay. Mine's a giveaway. Mine's free. This weekend I completed a new course about Liive, and this time it's on YouTube and it's free. And it is from the beginning. It doesn't assume anything. It takes you through step by step through everything that you can do with Liive, and it's interactive. You can ask questions and get answers. And I really enjoyed actually creating the course. So I'm on a marketing. Once you create something, when you write a book or you create a course, the next thing you've got to do is you actually got to sell it to people, even if it's free.
Absolutely.
So I'll come on your show, Marco. I'll talk.
Okay, anytime you want. Just, I have to ask you something about the way you frame the work to record the course, because when I did the last one, I mean the first one, the last one, it's the same. One thing I did, I recorded each feature at a time. I mean, I recorded, for instance, how to bring a guest. I recorded, edit, upload.
Okay.
Is that the way? Because I was wondering, maybe, that's why I'm asking. Maybe if I recorded everything at a time and then split the video, maybe could be more effective. I don't know.
But it, like all things, that you psych yourself up to the show, the broadcast, whether you do it consciously or not, you've got to get yourself in the mood, play rock music, whatever it takes to go live. When you're doing a course, you've got to be in the mood to do the course, because nobody's going to listen to you doing a course if you're miserable. So you've got to be in a good mood to the course. And if you get yourself in the zone, as it were, and you actually start and you go from beginning to end, then I don't see why not. It's a trade-off, because I think it would work that way. I'd go for it.
But how do you do it, Steven?
Right. That's
step by step, or you do record everything and then you split?
The way I do it is I just said get in the mood and then sit down, Camtasia, be Liive Studio, and I do the first section. I check it in Camtasia, make sure everything's okay, and then I will download it locally, and then I go on to the next one. So create, edit, download, create, edit, download, and just go like that, really. Yeah, I mean, it's basically experimenting with the way that works best for you. Yeah,
absolutely. So there's one reason why you should do live streaming. It's a nice way for get your questions answered, because you may find the right people. And I admit this. People sometimes ask me, why do you get guests on your show? Which advantage do you have for having guests? And I say, sometimes I get free consultancy live. Mm-hmm. I'm not shy of doing this and saying this, because it's true. And I think my guests also know that, because sometimes I have people who ask me to do that to me also. They pick my brains. And I think it's good because of two main things. First of all, it's good to be recognized. I think all of us like when people recognize and ask, because, okay, it is good to your ego, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. And it is good also for you to prove you know something. And if you do it live, it will bring you lots of authority, and it's good for personal brand. I had this show some weeks ago. It was totally, I don't know how you say in English, where there's the circus number, which is the trapezist, and they have the safety net, right? Do you say that?
Trapeze artist safety net's good.
Yeah. And I used to say this show was without safety net, because it was like that. The host, Nomi, he was also my guest a couple of times. Marco, do you want to join my show? Because I'm doing a show about this. And I say, I didn't ask, what are we talking about? Let's go. And it was in the middle of the week. The show would be in the very next Monday. Marco, look. It was Monday, 10 minutes before the show started. Look, this show is for sellers who are at home now. They can go to the street and sell. So you need to help them. Provide value and help them. And I say, okay, let's do it. And I was completely bombarded. It's like this. It was like they were shooting me with questions, but not that questions that that there's some madness. No, they were truly and deeply questions. They had doubts, anxiety, and everything. And I was there asking, deliver. And for me, it was so good, because at the end they were, it was awesome and everything. It's good for you, to your brand, to be known as an expert. to have this kind of situation. So, and sometimes people may say, "Oh, I won't ask because I will get a no, and they won't want to join me." And if you ask and they say yes, which happens most of the times. I don't know, Steven, about the way you and you're gonna talk just after this. Is I made hundreds of invitations, and 95% of them I get an answer, and the answer was yes. Some in the 5%, it's some people who say right now it's not so easy for me, and another in that 5%, there's maybe 2%, 1% of people who doesn't dare to answer, but it's their problem, not mine. How do you do it? So, because I think Harper may be interested in know how we work this.
I think the first thing is that if you're interested in somebody and you want to know what they know, or you want to listen to them talking about their passion, then if you invite them, there's only two things can happen. They're either going to say yes or no. And if they say no, then you make a note to actually ask them again 3 to 6 months' time. If they say yes, then you can go ahead with the broadcast. Now, the key here is that the more people you interview, the easier it is to actually find people who want to come on your show. And that's what happened with Marco. He's done many successful interviews, and when Marco asks, people say yes 95% of the time. And we all work towards that, towards getting to a stage where people say, okay, I want to be on that show, I'm just waiting to be asked, and you ask them and take it from there. I mean, there is no, if people say no, they say no. You just go on to the next person. And I think when you're in the sports arena, like the racing car arena, then there are so many people who it would be a delight to actually chat to, and it enriches your own knowledge and basically is of interest to your audience. Would you agree, Harper?
I would. Anybody who's like involved in the car shows or the racing, they would love to talk about their cars. I'm one of these people. If you get me going on cars, I can sit here and talk for 8 hours just on stuff that I've done with my cars that I've had, this and that, the other thing. But interviewing somebody on your car, it's like, why did you choose that car? Or what is your favorite feature on that car that maybe people don't know that it has, or something like that. They cost a lot of money. I mean, when I was in high school, you can buy a car for, really nice cars, like luxury cars, were like in the $20,000 US dollar range. Now it's like, you're looking at over $100,000, and it's like, it's ridiculous, but it's like giving people a reason to justify why they spent that much money on their car. They'll take it.
That's it. People love their cars. You can't separate them from the cars. They actually love talking about the car. Despite my saying we all walk and cycle in the UK, it's an integral part of everybody's life because we enjoy travel. We enjoy visiting new places, and we want to do that in some style. And that's where the car comes in. It's not just a question of going from A to B. It's there's a saying I'm going to say. It's basically, it's not where you're going, it's how you get there. It's the journey that counts. And if you're enjoying making the journey in your car, then all the better.
Exactly.
I think people love to talk about things they love.
I figure everybody is passionate about something.
Absolutely. And if they don't, maybe they have a problem.
They haven't found it yet. Maybe they need to. Yep.
And that's it. Here on live streaming, people are more, they feel that togetherness, almost like we were in person. So that's why sometimes it's easier for people to engage. And even because one thing I think it shows when you're doing live streaming, like we are doing right now, it's the fun the people have on the screen, and the people who are just watching all gets also this feeling and engaged with that, and they like to see this nice feeling, nice environment, energy. Steven.
That's it, energy. Energy is the key. That's what we're actually transmitting through the screen and reaching out to people. And our mood and the way that we present affects the way people actually receive the show. And if we can put some energy into what we're doing, then that is transmitted. And what we're actually sharing is our passion. And it's just a magical way of doing, because everything just happens as if by nature it was meant to be. And we're meant to be live today, and the three of us are meant to be live. We're meant to be on LinkedIn and on Facebook and wherever
YouTube,
else we are.
Periscope. I don't
Right.
know. I think I disabled Twitch because some crazy comments were coming. Oh no, it's Twitch is working, and it's
Right.
someone. Hello, Twitch. And I think it's an amazing way to connect. For instance, Portugal, England, United States here, so close, so far, and so close at the same time. So it's amazing. Harper,
Really.
I know that you want to say something.
I'm American. We always like to say something. Yeah. I got my coffee, so of course I can only have 1 cup of coffee a day, because by the time we get done with this, it'll be probably about 95 here in the U.S. or here in the Arizona. So it's too hot to drink coffee. So at that point, I start drinking like Gatorade or stuff like that to stay hydrated. But
For instance, this kind of things that we don't have any clue about them because we are in a different reality. It's good to know. And for instance, today at dinner, I will mention that. Look, there's this guy.
no.
And that's it. And it's also an amazing way when you don't have money to travel. Go watch live shows.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Americans, we all have, we're very opinionated, to a fault almost. But I would say about over 95% of the U.S. doesn't ever take the opportunity to travel outside of the U.S. I grew up in Seattle area, and the most out of country experience you have is up in Canada, which really isn't out of country. I mean, they say a lot, but it's really not. I mean, their lifestyle in British Columbia, Canada, is not much different than Seattle area. But most people have never been to Europe or go to South America or been to the Far East. I've had the wonderful opportunity in my career growing up to actually travel the 6 continents. I don't want to go to Antarctica. There's really nothing there. I've seen penguins in the movies, and I'm good. But nobody really knows here in the States how good we really have it. We're opinionated. We're very spoiled. We're like that spoiled brat kid in the store that's throwing a temper tantrum. As you guys know, watching the news and everything, we're in the middle of a temper tantrum right now. So we'll get past it, but people don't realize just how good we have it here in the States, and sometimes I think they need to know.
Steven.
We have that in common. I mean, it's the same in the UK. I mean, we're lucky to live in the first world, the developed world. We take for granted, until 3 months ago, we took everything for granted. Mm-hmm. We're starting to relearn how important our freedom is. Having been restricted to staying at home for 8 weeks, we now have the ability to go out and about. The countryside is opening up. We'll be able to go for a drive and walk in the countryside in the fresh air. And we used to take that for granted. Now it's going to be something special. and I hope it stays that way. We're lucky to be where we are at the time we are.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm going to be traveling up to next week. I'm traveling up to Seattle for my grandson's 3rd birthday, and I'm looking forward to not only being up there and being with them, with my daughter and my grandson, but actually taking the drive. I'm going to take the Camaro up I'm driving up rather than flying up, and really enjoy the scenery. I'm going to cut over through California and go up the coast, and it's going to be nice. Like Steven said, after being locked down for so long, stuck at home, while I don't have a bad view to look at, it's the only view I've been looking at,
Good.
Things
So
are getting better.
let's finish. We are about 1 hour. Next week,
Okay.
what are you doing next week?
Well, Harper's
next
on his
Wednesday
travel.
I'll be on the road.
Oh, too bad. You can
Right.
join us by mobile.
I originally tried and it said mobile limited, connect on a laptop. So that's why I was about 10
Well,
minutes late.
but you can do it. You can do it. Let me try again. Let me try again.
I'll try that. I've got a holder on my dash for the cell phone, and I can connect with you guys on the road.
Let me try.
I'll give you an update of where I'm at.
Brilliant. Right. Okay. Well, from the UK, I wish everybody a good week. And
See
Mark
you
and I
next
will be back
week.
next week. Mark, it's over to you.
Well,
It's your show.
Steven,
I mean,
please drop in the comments the link to your Liive course, please, so people
will.
can learn how to do it. Because I don't know when I release, I'll do mine in Portuguese and Spanish. I think I'm gonna wait till the new features that are about to come. And so we see next week on Steven's place, and please join us. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us today. Take care.